Hello. Um, so if you've heard of the 1.6 CVH, um, the North American version, so the one that came in North American Escorts, Lynxes, EXPs, and LN7s, if you've heard about this engine, it is famous for head gasket failures, overheating issues, and whatnot, all mostly relating to heat. Um, Not depth privation, just overheating, things like that. But I have 5 EXPs that all still have engines in them, and out of those 5, only one has a blown head gasket, and that head gasket failed. The original head gasket had failed at over 160,000 miles, maybe 180,000 miles, but it was at least 160,000 miles the thing failed at. And that's the only EXP we have that has had a failed head gasket. I don't know about our electric one, but so I'm not including that out of the 5. So, this one's mine. The one I'm restoring. It's got 80,000 miles. It's still on the same head gasket, and block. When I started tearing into this 2014, I did everything I could to make it roadworthy. Replaced the radiator hoses, spark plug wires, distributor cap, valve cover gasket, air filter, all new belts, new tensioner pulley, new water pulley, all the suspension, all the brakes, everything I needed to get it on the road. I replaced, and then I went into full restoration mode at the end of the summer. So, my conclusions from driving this around for a full summer, the only issues I had driving it was if I was crawling around in a field, going like no more than 10 miles per hour, resting every couple seconds, because I was in a convoy in a field. But we were traveling through a tall grass field, and the only issues I was having was my temp. My temp would slowly go up. So like normal temp in this car, for me, was about here. So just left of center, 11 o'clock. But sitting in that field, just creeping around, because no air was moving through the radiator, past the engine bay or anything, and I'm sitting in all this tall grass insulating it. It would slowly creep up, and right before the red zone is about 2 o'clock. Right around 1 o'clock, the fan would finally kick in. So just before it touches red, like 2 or 3 millimeters away from the red mark, the relay goes, and the fan turns, and my needle goes back down, because it's finally moving air back over that radiator and expelling some of it out of the engine bay. That's the only overheating issue I've had, and that wasn't a failing head gasket. Everything was running perfectly fine. It's just I wasn't able to move any air across the radiator or in through the engine bay, and I had tall grass in my engine bay, so heat was becoming an issue. Because normally when you're driving around, you're getting air through these grills, and then you're getting a bunch bouncing off that spoiler, going straight up that slide and directly into the radiator. It's designed well. LN7s will have better breathing because they got more vents up here hitting the radiator, getting more into that ram air intake. Because like that will only suck the tiny bit of air off the itty bitty body gap there, if there even is one on yours. So that's the only issue I've had with driving this for an entire summer. I probably clocked on not that many miles, maybe like 400 miles, 400 to 600 miles. But anyways, I did some research because I got some really nice manuals on the wiring for this, electrical and vacuum wise. So I found the relay for the fan. That is the fan relay. It's supposed to be mounted a little bit lower here on the firewall. But I had to get at it for some reason. I think the plug was coming undone from it, so I tried plugging it back in, and that yellow plastic cap exploded, so I had to JB weld it back together, and then I remounted it there in a slightly better place. Because it was a bunch lower, and there is not accessible even if you took the filter cap, the cover off. There was still a lot of crap in the way there. And my car is already extremely messy because it's got this stupid California emission system in there. So I gotta get rid of that sometime. Someday down the road we'll get rid of that. We've already bypassed the EGR and a few other stupid things because it's California emissions. But what I did was I found my 2 wires that go into the relay. So yellow wire number 37 goes into the relay, and number 228 is brown with yellow stripes. Those are the 2 I had to plug into, because yellow is the solid power going to the relay, and once the relay goes activates, it clicks on, that yellow wire goes to the brown and yellow wire, and the brown and yellow wire goes to the fan. So what I did was I wanted to make a bypass switch. So I got these 2 wires here, and they both connect to the yellow wire going into the relay and the brown and yellow wire coming back out of the relay. And I connected those to a switch on the other side of the firewall. So I just ran these through a little grommet down there, down by the clutch about. It's where a whole bunch of other wires were coming in. So I ran them inside. And right now I got a toggle switch. It's that shiny, that little shiny ball. That's attached to the stem of the switch. So that's just a simple on-off toggle switch. I'm not sure where I'm going to mount it yet, because I don't want to put a hole in the dash. Maybe I'll mount something under the dash or by my seat. I originally had it next to my seat. But with that switch, what you can do is that anytime you can turn it on, and your fan will be on. And your fan will stay on until you turn the switch off. So, even when you turn the switch off, your fan will still kick in when the relay feels it's ready to. So when your car thinks that it's getting a little hot, and your switch is off, the relay will still kick in when it feels it's ready. But a lot of times that's too late. When you're driving around on the road, fan will kick in once in a while. But I was just saying this earlier. With air running through the radiator, your fan will still feel the need to kick on every once in a while, but when your car is sitting around, the fan will only kick on when it's close to red. Maybe it's just my car, but I'm not sure. But a really good way to prevent your overheating issues that you may or may not experience. Like, this is a very rare occasion for me, but a good way to prevent it is to install that little switch. And all you have to do is take some wires, strip the ends off, and then stick them into the little squares of the cap with the wires that you need to join them with, which should be a red one, or I'm sorry, a yellow one and a brown wire with yellow striping on it. You stick both the wires in there, and then at the end connect them to a little simple on-off toggle switch. You can get those for less than 40 cents if you know where to find them. You can even get them for free if you know where a barn is. And you just install that in, and whenever you want, turn it on, fan will come on, turn it off, and the relay still works as usual. So that's a really simple fix for a really big problem. But like I said, that's extremely rare. We have 5 EXPs that still have 1.6 engines in them, and only one has a blown gasket, and the head gasket blew at 100 and something. Well over 160,000 miles, the head gasket finally blew. So, really with these engines, as long as you replace the belt when you need to. So, replace the belt, change the coolant when you should, change the oil and filter when you should, replace the water pulley when you should, and replace the tensioner when you should. You should not have any issues. With normal driving, you won't have any issues as long as you fix those few things when you need to. So that is my overheating fix for these things. If you live in Europe, I don't know if the European CVHs have any kind of overheating rumors, complaints, issues, whatever. But mine, the American ones just do, because our engines are different. But so yeah, if you can do that, you'll save the life of your engine. If you are one of the people that suffers overheating issues, and like I said, mine is just for those extremely rare moments when I'm creeping around in town, or I'm creeping around out in the country. I'm just driving through a grassy field for a car show or whatever. Crap like that happens, turn that fan on, and you're safe for forever, really. Because as long as that fan is running, you won't have much for overheating issues. So hopefully that helped you. There's a few other mods you can do to these. Not really performance-based, but inexpensive mods that will prolong the life of your engine and other materials inside the engine bay. So, we'll catch you next time.